Assalamualaikum and greetings to Dr. Anis Rosniza Nizam Akbar. Today our group would like to present a poster presentation on the final group assignment for course BQS 552 Construction Technology 4. So my group members consist of Aliyah Fitri binti Yahya, Nur Izzatul Shahira binti Ishaq, Muhammad Fauzi bin Abdul Razak, Feleka Redho Estedar Timis, and Aiman Fidaus bin Azmi. So we present to you our poster. The poster is for proposed 88-story office building and consisting of 7 stories of shopping mall, 5 stories of the basement, 79 stories of office units, and 2 stories of viewing deck in Kampung Baru, Kuala Lumpur, which is our proposed building. So we have proposed two types of deep foundation and two types of basement, which are, for the deep foundation we propose cast in situ bore pile and driven precast concrete piles. For basement we propose open cut construction and top down construction. Below that, we have also show you problem and solution of the elements. So we'll proceed with our video content for poster presentation. We hope you will enjoy this video.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Fauzi bin Abdul Razak. I will explain about the introduction. Kampung Baru is a Malay enclave in central Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. One of the most valuable tract of land in the capital, it has been estimated to be worth up to USD 1.4 billion. The site location project is located at Jalan Raja Muda Musa, situated in the middle of Kuala Lumpur and about 1 kilometer from Petronas Twin Tower. Thanks to its central location, the proposed project is easily accessible via a number of public transport options. Those travelling by LRT can alight at the Kampung Baru station, while those using the monorail can alight at the Medan Tuanku station and walk 15 minutes northeast toward Kampung Baru.
Assalamualaikum. I'm Amran Fidaus bin Azmi and today I will be explaining about our two alternatives of deep foundation for the proposed building. So the first type of foundation is cast in situ bore pile. Bore pile is a type of reinforced concrete foundation and also one of the most commonly used type of foundation for a high-rise building. It is sometimes called replacement piles or drill shaft. Bore pile can act as heavy foundation securing deep excavation, especially close to existing building. It also can help on stabilizing and retaining slopes. It also sometimes was used for infrastructure work such as tunneling, road and bridge construction, as well as flood protection. The main uses of bore pile is for slope stabilization to prevent landslide and protecting existing building around the construction area. So the reason we choose Bhopal as our alternative deep foundation for this proposed building is because of the location. As we know, the proposed building is located at Kampung Baru. Kampung Baru is known as an urban area which is filled with existing building around the construction site. Bhopal are used primarily in cohesive subsoil for the formation of friction pile and when forming pile foundation close to existing building. They are popular in urban area. There is minimal vibration, where headroom is limited. There is no risk of heat, said by Designing Building Wiki year 2020. So, both are suitable to be chosen as an alternative of the deep foundation for this proposed building because of the similarity of the location of construction site. So the material that was used to create a bhopal are concrete, reinforcement, and fly ash. All material and product for incorporation into the bhopal shall be in accordance with the relevant Malaysian and British standard and with the specification for the work. Next, we will move on to the problem and solution of the cast in situ bhopal.
Next, I will explain about the problem and solution for Popeye. The first problem is rebar reinforcement incident when pouring concrete. This is caused by the influence of the process of draining the wall. For the solution, When starting to pour concrete, the reinforced rebar must be detached immediately to stop pouring concrete and patiently shake the wall pipe, move it up and down or rotate in one direction to sever the problem between the reinforced spring. While pouring concrete or when draining the pipe and simultaneously reinforcing steel and concrete, this is a severe incident. Either the pile shaft and the soil layer are not tightly connected or there is a significant gapping. Therefore, this case must not be drawn again before reinforcing the submerged ground. The second problem for the bore pile is the site was very loose and not strong enough to support the soil from collapsing during boring. This is because the soil contained field lengths of marine deposit left in place, leaving completely too highly decommissioned granite and then granitic bedrock. The problem is solved by allowing the temporary steel casing to support pile hold through the soil. Other than that, because of loose dense of soil, it had used hemograph to excavate through the superficial deposit and decomposed material. Other than that, for smoothing the excavation work, the temporary steel casing with cutting teeth at the two has advanced simultaneously by oscillator or rotator.
So, the second alternative of the deep foundation for the proposed building that we choose is driven precast concrete piles. Driven precast concrete piles is also known as a displacement piles, usually consists of prefabricated elements such as steel, timber, and concrete. So the pile will be driven into the ground using any vibrating or hammering machineries that can complete the installation. Driven piles can provide support for structure, transferring their load to layers of soil or rock that have sufficient bearing capacity and suitable settlement characteristics. So the common characteristic and specification of a driven precast concrete pile is usually known as a long and slender column that made from preformed material and having a predetermined shape and sizes that can be installed by impact hammering, vibrating or pushing it into the ground to a designed depth or resistance. So the reason why we choose driven pile as our second alternative is because driven pile is known as the most cost-effective deep foundation solution for the proposed building. After that, handling a construction project in Kapung Baru can be a high-cost project. So, by implementing this driven pile, the cost can be decreased and effective to the total construction cost to be lowered. As been said by Designing Building Wiki year 2020, driven piles are built to precise tolerance using high-strength material and require good quality control. Consistency of quality is achieved by conforming to the pile specification and inspection prior to installation to verify integrity. So, the quality of the foundation can be in top condition and high caliber for the proposed building. The material that we use to create a driven precast concrete piles are concrete, cement, aggregate, and reinforcement. All of the material and product for incorporation into creating the pile shall be in accordance with the Malaysian standard for precast concrete piles. Next, we will move on to the problem and solution of the driven precast concrete piles.
Next, I will explain about the problem and solution for driven precast concrete pile. The first problem is blow count is above pile penetration requirement. Soil analysis should accurately predict the number of blows required to drive a pile to its planned depth, and if the number of blows is substantially higher than expected, it indicates a problem with either the driving system, the soil, or both. For the solution, if no obvious problem are found, take dynamic measurement to determine if the problem is related to the driving system or to soil behavior. Driving system problem could include friction, low hammer efficiency, or a cushion that is too soft. The second problem is piles are driven significantly deeper than estimated. When piles are driven considerably deeper than expected, it may be because soil resistance of the time of driving is lower than anticipated. or because the driving system performance is better than anticipated. For the solution, if the ultimate capacity based on restrike flow count is still low, check the drive system performance and restrike capacity using dynamic measurement. If the drive system performance is assumed and restrike capacity is low, the soil conditions are probably weaker than anticipated. Foundation pile will probably need to be driven deeper than originally estimated, or additionally pile will be required to support the load.
Hello, my name is Felicardo Estratimis. I'm going to present about basement element for the proposed building. So basically, we propose two type of basement construction, which are first open cut construction and second one is top down construction. For the first method of construction, the method of basement construction that will be used for the proposed project is the method of open cut excavation. Open cut, also called bottom up method. It is the simplest and most straightforward method of arrangement. It can only be used in an open space area where there is no obstruction and no building or structure in the vicinity. If the excavation work is more than 6 meter depth and makes it uneconomic because it will involve massive excavation work and will require temporary support from the excavation site. However, due to the construction of bank slope, this method may not require additional support, operation and equipment to provide stability, with possible slope protection to maximize the angle of slope. It is also used to protect the slope from falling. Rods are inserted into the soil along the slope. Nets are cast over the slope and concrete is sprayed on them to prevent soil from eroding or slipping during rainy days. Either hand, the bank slope involve more excavation and a large backfilling volume than the other option. It will therefore increase the cost of excavation, backfilling and consolidation of the site. Other additional costs required for this type of arrangement, including plant and machinery and labor. The material used for the proposed project is concrete masonry wall. Block or masonry wall are the cheapest construction method in the basement. This type of basement wall construction is made of cider block and the basement walls are constructed with masonry block units. Masonry walls require less time than other construction methods. In order to increase durability, the steel rebar is sometimes used to reinforce the masonry wall. Mortar provides a number of important functions in a concrete masonry wall. It binds the unit together, seals the joint against air and moisture penetration, and binds to joint reinforcement, ties and anchor so that all components act as structure elements. In the construction of reinforced concrete masonry, grout also is used to bind the reinforcement and the masonry together. The high slump allows the grout to be fluid enough to flow from around reinforcement bars and into small void. This initially high water to cement ratio is significantly reduced as the masonry units absorb excess mixing water. Thereby, despite the initially high water to cement ratio, grout gains high strength.
There are several problems that occur in construction of open cut, which is moisture in basement. Causes of basement moisture is structural cracks. Concrete and concrete block foundation usually develop some cracks. They can be severe if floor joists are not properly connected to the foundation wall, thus permitting the wall to move. Also, soil settling causes cracking. As solution to the problem, proper footing design and proper connection between the foundation wall and the structure above are required. For example, anchor bolts or straps at the sill plate and the floor joist nailed to the sill plate. Next, the improper drainage with underslab ducts. Heating ducts placed beneath the basement floor must be insulated, watertight, and sloped to the to collection points for drainage and cleaning as for the solution to the problem. Next, humidity and mold. Humidity condenses on organic and metal surfaces where it can grow mold, cause rot, attract dust mites, and generally provide an uncomfortable environment for humans. Solution to the problems is make sure rain gutters are completely free of debris and keep a dehumidifier handy. Last but not least, sinking basement floors. One of the causes sinking basement floors to occur is rising foundations. In many situations, the contractor may suggest that foundation push piers are installed to raise the foundation upwards with the gap underneath filled via mud checking.
Second method of construction that will be used for the purpose building is the top-down construction method. Top-down construction method is the reverse method of bottom-up construction in which the permanent structure is built from top to bottom of the basement along with deep excavation. In this method, the basement floor are constructed as the excavation progress. Basement concrete slab act as lateral bracing for the perimeter wall system. Ground level and subsequent basement slab are poured, accessing hole left to allow excavation beneath. Next, as each subsequent subgrade level is complete, the floor act as lateral bracing for the perimeter wall system. Perimeter wall, which is generally referred to as diaphragm wall, is single, safe solution for all the construction problem encountered in underground construction. The basement works have been designed to make sure the safeguard of the structural stability of the existing nearby buildings and the associated infrastructure. The next step is taken to underpinning to the wall will be constructed in section of maximum length to 1000 mm with no more than a quarter of a wall being unsupported at any one time. And it also will be establish the presence of loose fill down to depth of 2 meter to retain fill material sheet piling and installed by pushing the sheet pile into position. In view of this pressure growing was taken place immediately after the excavation are opened up to prevent collapse of the loose fill, to minimize the effect of vibration when driving the piles, and this construction using pre-drilling and pushing. And for the top-down material use, there will be material used such as concrete reinforcement and formwork. And for this type of basement, underpinning will be taken by digging down to the required depth to provide the working space by using a mini digger where deemed appropriate. Once the foundation depth for the underpinning section is reached and tunneling below the existing foundation is complete, horizontal starter bars had been introduced into adjacent section by forcing them into the soil and the use of coupler. These are try and test method for this process. Starter bars also be left projecting into the future basement floor slab. These bars has been surrounded and covered in an initially after their installation, so as to protect them during subsequent backfilling edgeless, allowing for the easy recovery. Other than that, vertical formwork also has introduced to this project within 75 mm of the underside of the existing footing. 4 days after concreting, the 45 mm gap beneath the underside of the existing footing and the top of the concrete will be dry packed with concrete containing a waterproofing and non-shrink additive. As part of the dry packing process, the main concrete section have to be roughened to expose the coarse aggregate to ensure that a proper bond is achieved. After completing the underpinning, each section had been temporarily backfilled with selected compacted excavation material to provide interim stability during the work. The compacting was achieved with a vibrating plate compactor. It is of a paramount importance that adequate compacting is achieved. The thickness of each layer and the number of passes will be determined on site as work proceeds, and the backfilling must be complete before the next section are open.
I'm Alia Fitri and I will talk about the problems occupied and steps taken to resolve them. Problems for top-down construction. As mentioned before, this mega project was undertaken at the residential area and it is confirmed that during the construction there will be problems such as noise control at the residential area. The site hoarding has assisted in acting as a noise barrier. All machinery, tools, and equipment had well maintained and silent where possible for items such as compressors, generators, and power tools. Also, stationary noise sources had shielded with acoustic barriers were considered necessary. In all cases, the best practicable means of minimizing noise had used and the guidance given in British Standard BS 5228 in 1986, entitled Noise Control on Construction and Open Sites, had been used where practical. These actions had include reducing the operating hours, reseating the equipment, changing the method of working, or providing temporary barriers. Next, the Party Wall matters. The Party Wall Act 1996 provides owners of buildings with certain rights and obligations subjoining owners for work in relation to party walls or similar structures. Then, for the waste disposal and management, the steps taken also included to keep the site clean and tidy. The collection of waste is from a central point, there is segregation of waste on site, the removal of waste products from site is minimized by recycling and reuse of excess materials wherever possible. Water was disposed of legally at licensed and designated sites and disruption to traffic in the surrounding area is minimized.
My name is Naizatu Shahira. I will talk about comparative analysis for the alternative between the two elements. Okay, firstly, we chose the cast in situ block pile and driven precast concrete. While these two the foundation are suitable to be used for high-rise building for our proposed project. It can greatly withstand the loads of the building superstructure to the ground or rocks with sufficient bearing capacity and suitable for any settlements. The design block pile required more works to be executed such drilling, castings, installing and pouring betonite. The design quality can be more guaranteed, has a strong durable to withstand and receive the loads from the upper structures and it has an extra support such as casing and reinforced cache that can be proved also with existed case study project of China Zone that use Bhopal for their 109 floor high rise building, and while for the driven pile characteristic, the manufacturer is suitable also to accommodate the loads from its superstructure of its building, and quality can be ensured by its predetermined shape and size. The construction process of both piles need one-by-one works to be executed, such drilling with auger, installing the cast and fill the betonized slurry. The construction process for precast pile can be similar but simpler and more easy than board pile. Just need an advanced pile hammer tool to driven the pile and pile concrete cutter for cutting off the excess pile length. In terms of cost, according to the construction process, the cost will be more for board pile, opposite to the driven pile can be decreased and effectively in handling the method in urban areas. As basement, the open cut has a simplest and most straightforward method that can be used in open space area. It can deal with slope area for top-down. Considering that this purpose project built in urban area, it is the suitable solution alternative to be used as it can minimize the space and prevent disruption to occupant around the construction site. This alternative also can reduce the period of the construction where it is a fast track. Its design, the basement of open cut will use masonry wall and a temporary support for the site excavation if it is involved in massive excavation. It have design slope to stable the basement structure that then will be backfill. For the top down, the design can be guaranteed the safeguard for the underground construction works and of existing nearby of the site as well as infrastructures. The design also suitable to overcome the condition of loose soil that have solid design. The construction process of the top-down basement is simplest and repeated the same procedures and also have orderly sequence works. As its cost, in terms of design, the open cut can be more cheaper as the masonry used in the basement wall structure compared to the reinforcement concrete top-down. And the material used in top-down design are high since a lot of reinforcement and concrete used for the entire of wall.
As in conclusion, according to J. Paul Kyer et al. 2013, the most recommended type of foundation is deep foundation. The term deep foundation includes piles, piers, or caissons, as well as footings or mats set into a deep excavation. In case the strata of good bearing capacity is not available near the ground, the foundation of the structure has to be taken deep with the purpose of attaining a bearing stratum which is suitable in all aspects. MD Forest 2015. Open cut excavation is the one used for basement. It is the simplest and most straightforward method of arrangement. The open cut method is suitable for most ground conditions except for oozing mud and running sand. If drying, flooding, or change in soil properties erodes the soil, slugging and collapse may occur. For top-down construction method, it is mainly used for two types of urban structures: tall buildings with deep basements and underground structures such as car parks and others. There are some challenges, however, such as noise pollution. Malaysia is gradually increasing its pace into moving forward to develop itself into a more developed country. A developed country not only means that the country's economic are stable, but also means that there are more construction projects. That's all from us. Thank you.